Warning, this video contains rumors, speculation, strong opinions, and
welcome, everyone. I have a special video and a special guest with me today. I wasn't expecting. I appreciate him coming on such short notice. And beyond our bubble of this fandom of comics, Comicsgate, indie comic creators, I am asking all you viewers to share this, because we're going to talk about free speech. We're going to talk about all that, about the art of critique and trying to silence critics. Because I think that's where Comicsgate got started, is wanting to be able to critique stuff and consumers. And as it is today, it's a very different story. It's clicks. It's you're with us or you're against us, in exercising your freedom of speech over someone else's rights and silencing their freedom of speech with smear campaigns to the point where they can't conduct business. Like Doug Tenaple, he deserves the right to be on whatever channel he wants. Or you're either with us or against us. If you have this guest, forget about Comicsgate, the war campaign, or who knows what else behind the scenes. I'm not saying, and I'm trying to be a center of this. I'm trying to examine both sides. But I also want to say, if your freedom of speech only consists of foul language, that's your right. Am I obligated to have you on if I don't feel you have anything to say besides I'm coming for your back hole? And what does that actually mean? It means I'm gonna intimidate you on social media platforms, maybe not on YouTube, but on Twitter, until you submit. That's not cool. Is that respecting? A lot of comic book fans here, what did Stan Lee say? He said, with great power comes great responsibility. Have the leaders in all these movements respected the responsibility, or even want the responsibility when shit hits the fan? I don't think so. They back away. All right. So sorry, that was a hot opening.
No, that's great.
Fan advocacy is here. Go sub to him. Go support him, because he's recently he is a critic and he was a former supporter. So this is attacking your consumer. Wow, Comicsgate, real cool. Attacking a former consumer, and you're not opposed to buying Comicsgate books now too either. I'm guessing. Are you? If they behave themselves,
I think I have 4 of Starblades.
Yeah.
I've backed what's it called? The Expendables. No,
Yeah.
I back books all the time, and I buy them in pretty sizable quantities because I love comic books. I love the arts.
Right. So this is a consumer. And if people leave Comicsgate, it's not, they have the right to continue their business too. If you really love comics, I'm going to bring up Rose, how those Tico paths of EVS. This is not how, let me see if I have that here. Hold on a second. If it's about the love of comics, I thought it was cringy in the movie The Last Jedi for to be genuine, but this statement altogether is actually a good statement. That's how we're going to win, not fighting what we hate, saving what we love. If it's for the love of comics, if it's for the love of getting new indie creators, then if people want to leave and they critique you, let them do it. You're trying to silence someone else's freedom of speech with your freedom to be an asshole. Do you have that same freedom on social media? I think you can say whatever you want in your own house or go protest, but social media, I think, also should have some level of respect and not abusing your freedoms to silence others' freedoms. That's my point.
That's great.
All right. So I want you to share your story for some that might not know yet. And while you're sharing, I'm going to tweet this out.
All right. Well, I mean, it's a pretty simple story, and it's in tradition with other stories that other people have maintained. And by the way, I just want to mention that as I'm saying the story, they've already moved on to 2 other people. So I'm sort of yesterday's news. I was defamed as a pedophile and sharing child porn because I think comic books should be delivered on time and that creators shouldn't insult their audience. I mean, that's pretty much it. My contention is not with Comicsgate because of any real fundamental difference, because I was a supporter of theirs and I still buy books from people that I think are going to deliver books. I just backed Common America from Tim Lemon. He's not Comicsgate, but I mean, I constantly buy books and I buy them in quantity so that I can give them away and do whatever. But it's unbelievable. And I don't think that you can properly explain to other people what it's like to have a malicious mob of degenerate losers and weirdos saying that you're a pedophile and adding the FBI. And these are not just random people. These are Comicsgate pros that are on EBS's channel all the time. Micah Curtis, Donald DeLay was one of the people involved. You had Andrew Huerta. I mean, all these people, or most of these people, are late on their books, have terrible customer service, are antagonistic and hateful and just weird.
I got to stop you here right now, because even in the chat, if you see what's going on, I'm not highlighting some of the stuff. I got to block someone, and then someone says the amazing Adam, Doug to Naples, you know, and I'm not, and he's harassing you again.
Yeah,
and
well,
I'm blocking him. I don't care.
Yeah.
Do you have freedom of speech? It depends. You have control over your are you only talking over your out of your back hole? Then I'm gonna make the decision. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you have something to say, if people have something to say with their freedom of speech, okay, let's have a conversation. If your conversation is just verbal diarrhea, say what you want in your house. That's what social media. Yes, we want as much freedom and people to be able to say things as they want. But what are you actually saying? What does your words consist of? What do they have to say besides this?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm yesterday's news. They've moved on to calling Mike S. Miller a child abuser and Doug TeNapel a war profiteer. It's all disgusting, and it's the same behavior that I left mainstream comics for. It's just all over again.
Right. Very much SJW behavior. Even if you don't agree with Doug TeNapel's politics, adding his employers because of his religious beliefs, and how he feels, he doesn't talk about it much, and they keep bringing it up to try to smear him.
Well, I have a simple philosophy, and it's one that's not very popular, but it's one that allows you to live with yourself and be consistent, is that you hold everyone to the same standard, whether you like them or you don't. It's like people have asked me, why do you criticize Comicsgate and the Fandom Menace and all this other stuff when there are other things going on in the media? It's like, well, because if you can't identify problems within your own group, if you can't call out people that you like, then how is anyone going to take you seriously when you're criticizing anyone else? For me, it's that simple. You have to hold people to the same standard.
Mm-hmm.
Comicsgate is in the state that it's in because no one at the top of these creators stepped in and said, okay, no, enough. And unfortunately, people like Richard Mayer have
all right, here, I'm going to highlight this comment because this is the proof is in the pudding. Okay, the Fuzz, why? Explain why with your words instead of using emojis. Explain why.
No, this guy's funny. He comments on a lot of my videos, and it just, it's...
Okay, explain yourself with your words instead of emojis of what was coming out of your mouth, honestly.
I'm an SJW.
Explain yourself, the Fuzz. Use your words instead of just constant noise.
No, because they have nothing. Because if they've watched any part of my channel, they know that I'm the furthest thing from an SJW.
They honestly say, like, I'm censoring them. I'm okay to censor people on my channel that have nothing to say except this. Like, I don't even know if this probably isn't the real row. I have no idea. And you know what? I don't care. I really don't care. Is it worth the effort to try to talk to people that everything's a joke, a degenerative joke? That's your right.
Well, everyone should
not on my channel. It's not.
Yeah, on my channel, I don't filter comments at all, but everyone should be in charge of their own channel, run it the way that they want.
Okay, well, here I'll address it because he's talking at least a little bit normal here because he lies all the time and acts like an SJW. So what are you doing? Your group making false accusations and trying to smear him. Even if you don't like what he has to say, he has the right to say it. He has the right to say it.
I'll take a smear over blatant defamation from these people. I mean, I don't care if people attack me. That's the thing. I don't care what these people say.
Right.
They're losers. But when you say that I'm a pedophile and you at the FBI, and these are not just, again, I just want to mention, these are not just random war campaign people. These are creators, comic book creators on the indie scene are sharing material saying that I'm a pedophile.
Now, to give EVS at least some credit, he denounced what they did to you, but I did see a lot of retweets from top comic creators in Comicsgate and War Campaign about you without checking anything.
Yeah.
Just ready to retweet.
I never blamed EVS, and to Pan's point, I never outright blamed War Campaign as a group. I blamed the people responsible, not only the people that said what they said, but also the people that liked it, retweeted it, and shared it, because that type of thing should have been immediately driven into the ground, because the person involved is the same person who lied about me harassing Kyle Ritter, a man who's done work for me, a man that I respect, saying that I harassed him off of Twitter when he chose to leave for health reasons. So, I mean, these people, they perpetuate this, and it's repulsive. And so many people, normal people, are driven away by this. They don't want any part of it. They want to enjoy their media. They want their escapism, their fantasy, their fun. They work how many days, you work 40 hours a week, you come home and.
Well, Panboy's speaking here normally. He says a point, War Campaign never called dude a pedo, but did they retweet it though?
Yeah, I mean, the tweet from Micah Curtis and these other people like Liam Gray, yeah, they liked the tweet because it was negative about me. It doesn't matter the validity or the truth of it. That's simply their modus operandi, and I don't agree with that. If I like you and somebody, and you say something I don't agree with, I'll disagree with it. But if you're somebody I don't like, I'm not just going to sit there and rag on you if it's not true.
Okay, now here's the fuzz. Have we censored him, MaxiPad? There's a organized effort to smear his image. Even if I'll tell you what, I guess we can't prove that War Campaign intended for that, but is the one that started. I don't know if he is actually a War Campaigner. No one had problems retweeting that to all hell, get the message out there.
Wait a minute. To the War Campaign people, do you idiots not remember the fact that the initial screenshot came from your Discord? What do you mean it wasn't you? It came from your Discord.
Well, here's the thing that the go-to excuse for a lot of bad internet behavior. Prove it. That's in snitches get stitches. That's what's been happening. Now, what they did to our Discord with my group of fans, we want to try to focus on positive content. The first thing they said is they came in and said, "We're here for your back holes." So I snap a censor on that. It depends if what you're there for. You say you stated your intentions right away. No, I don't want to. Yeah, social media platforms does have protections for its users. This is not the intended use. Freedom of speech is a part of social media, but how you intend to use it, it depends if you get to keep that freedom of speech. And if your words actually have meaning instead of just shitting all over the place, smack it depends on that back hole when that's all you speak out of. That's my thoughts. All right. Firewater. Yes, I will send you a link. He's a great, he's actually just follows this stuff on Twitter. So, and he's a good guy. We might not agree on everything, but he's respectful. So,
Well, as long as he doesn't call me a pedophile and say that
No,
I
no, no,
share
no.
child
He
porn, I
doesn't
mean,
like.
I don't care if we disagree or not. I mean, that's more interesting than just agreeing with somebody all the time.
All right, so I'm sending him a link. My friend Kevin Street, I really want to work with him because he buys a lot of indie comics, not just Comicsgate.
Right.
And he's a Doug TenNapel fan. I want to have him on when Doug's on because I want to connect those two because that's how I found out about. I've known of Doug TenNapel. Oh, here's Firewater. Hey, Firewater.
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good, not bad.
It's kind of a hot one because this guy YouTuber here is trying to hit other people's freedom of speech in blatant lies. Actually, has been trying to censor his freedom of speech to critique and review Comicsgate, the Fandom Menace. I don't know. Maybe I haven't watched all of your videos.
No, I'm familiar with Fan Advocacy Network,
Okay.
and it appears what's going on that it is a smear and maybe even borderline defamation. That's something for maybe consult an attorney about. Yeah, I don't even know if suing them is what. I don't know if they have anything to take.
Suing them would do nothing. I'm not interested in owning their mother's basement or the ham sandwich from a week ago. I mean,
Ooh.
they have nothing. Why
Yeah,
would
if you're
I
going to sue
why would
somebody,
I
you got to
waste
sue
money?
somebody with a job. I get it, but no, but this whole freedom of speech. A lot of people mention freedom of speech, and that's fair. But Max, you're missing an important part of that. I think that doesn't get as mentioned, or maybe you're not saying it
Okay.
the way I'm going to
Alright.
characterize it right now. You also have freedom of association.
All right.
This is your platform. You have people here that you want to have here. You don't have people that you don't.
True.
Right. So it's freedom of association. They could say free speech all day, every day. Freedom of speech only protects you from being jailed by the government.
Right. Okay.
It doesn't affect anyone's like private accounts or, you're running a stream here.
Yeah.
They're not required to be here by law. They can't say, oh, you're against free speech. No, I'm using my freedom of association. I'm not saying you should be jailed for what you're doing. I'm saying I just don't want to deal with it.
Right. In the past,
difference.
I've said I want to speak to everyone. I've revised that. I want to speak to everyone that has something to say that's not just barking, only using their back holes to speak because they love saying back holes. They don't really. I look at the chat here. When they came in or when they came into our Discord, what did they say immediately? They say their intentions. We're here for your back holes.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. They are a baffling bunch, but like I said, I don't want to comment too much on them.
Right. Okay,
but and I'm gonna dip after this,
Sure.
because I just wanted to chime in with you have freedom of association that trumps their freedom of speech. Corporations use that all the time. In fact, when Twitter bans people, they say like, look, we're a private company. Now people could agree or disagree with that. Or if YouTube wants to do something, they're a private company. They can do they're not legally required to have people to have YouTube channels. And now some people say that sucks and that there should be competition. I'm like, best of luck. I don't see any viable competition. I think the one gentleman who did those Psycho Dad videos came up with an alternative platform, but I'm hoping.
Well, once the advertisers get there, it will be the exact same thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're going to bend the knee to the advertiser. How is it going to be different? The only way to have it be different is you have to charge the user.
Right.
And most people aren't going to want to pay.
So we should try to use our freedom of speech, but also try to behave on the platforms where
we should also recognize that freedom of association trumps that.
Yeah, you're right.
If people come in here, like if we own a restaurant and someone's being an asshole, and now they're disrupting the guests, maybe just not like physically, but like verbalizing. Let's say they're shouting racial epithets or whatever, racial obscenities. We could throw them out.
Yeah.
And now they can't go to jail for that. But
right.
we can remove them from our private property. It's the same reason why they made military funerals. They made it so like the families kind of like lease the cemetery or lease the funeral area so that, hey, this is private property. You have to leave now.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like the same thing. So freedom of association, you can just say like, hey, we have freedom of association. We don't want to associate with you. I mean, the reality is that we just don't want any of your time. If you're going to behave in a certain way, if you want to have an honest conversation, by all means, let's have an honest conversation. But it doesn't sound like a lot of them want to do that.
Fair point.
So,
yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to dip. I just wanted to get my 2 cents.
No, I like that you brought that up. I appreciate it, Firewater.
All right. You guys have a good one, all right?
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
That's a fair point. I have called for in the past that I want to speak with as many people as possible, but I want to do it in some type of civil manner, even though I want to have hard guests on with different opinions.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen much there from this particular group besides if you speak out against us, we're coming for your you know what. I don't want to keep repeating it.
Yeah.
And they stated their intentions right away when they came in our Discord. So I guess we exercised our right for freedom association. We want to speak to as many people as possible that have something to say that could be civil enough to just is it just memes, bro? When it's is everything a joke? And if everyone if the people really think this stuff is funny, like the stuff that was on Twitter, I'm really concerned about people if you think it's that funny and that's all you do. That's it.
Yeah. Well, it's something else. You know, you mentioned Doug Knaple.
Mhm.
I'm actually a huge fan of his. You were mentioning, do I buy comic books? I actually had 5 copies of Bigfoot Bill, and I think I have 3 of the super packs of the Earthworm Jim. Man, that thing, both of those books are just incredible. And I especially like my Earthworm Jim fan edition. I mean, that one is really something else.
And he
So
should be
it's,
respected, even if you don't like things that happened in the past with him working with Comicsgate, leaving with Comicsgate. He is still a valued member and a creator, and he still should have the right to be on whatever YouTube show he wants, wherever he could do to do his business instead of being harassed constantly. And I view it as harassment. It's my opinion. It's subjective. I view it as harassment.
well, I've disagreed with Doug in the past, and
Sure.
I've let him know that I've disagreed with him in the past. But see, I would never, ever, even in any disagreement that we had, even if it was to the point where I would say, Doug made a foolish decision or did a video, I would never accuse him of war profiteering or some form of malicious conduct against the U.S. military out of some pettiness, because Doug, he had to support the troops. Mike S. Miller had it. Ethan and Cecil don't. And so, fine, your choice. You can do whatever you want. But to sit there and say Doug doesn't deserve to be able to say, look, I have this perk. Here's a picture of the troops receiving it, because it makes certain people feel uncomfortable and because they don't like him. No, that doesn't sit
Yeah,
right
and that
with
was
me.
he was trying to show his character. He was people said that was an attack on Comicsgate, that tweet. It just says
Yeah.
I'm not what they say I am.
Yeah.
It was a defense, it wasn't an attack. It is ridiculous what these people, and I'm using a blanket statement because how many times have you heard suing and when there's no legitimate cause? Fan advocacy
Oh, yeah.
does have a legitimate cause. And I would actually say, I shouldn't say this on a video, but I think at this point, how much they've interfered with his business, I think Doug might have a case too. And I'm not going to tell anyone to sue, but I'm saying it's ridiculous what they think is an attack.
Well, here's the interesting thing, and this is a question that I asked on Twitter multiple times. Liam Gray posted a really disgusting tweet. I mean, his is probably the worst. Liam Gray's tweet not only accused me of having child porn, but people that I quote unquote associate with. Now, I don't know who I associate with. I don't know who I'm being grouped in, but this amorphous term that this Comicsgate creator, who is often on Ethan's show, basically put everyone who's ever been in disagreement with Comicsgate into this category of owning child pornography. So it also wasn't just me, it was everyone else. And it blows my mind. They have absolutely no care about the words that they say and the damage that it does, because I think it's funny. I mean, they think it's a joke.
I think everything's a joke. Or when you call them out on it, I think they're trying to gaslight their critic. I think they're trying to gaslight the audience here on YouTube and on social media of all their critics by smearing them constantly.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get. They don't have respect for the audience too. If you believe this stuff,
like I said, it's the same thing in mainstream comics. When you criticize when you criticize the lateness of Comicsgate books, which is pretty much the standard, when you, okay, hold on, Mr. Big, that's a lie. What's a lie?
I don't see it.
I'm lying about what? What exactly? Be specific.
Yeah. Use specifics if you're gonna do an accusation.
Because, frankly, I don't think that you guys are in any position to be talking about the validity or the truth of a situation, considering that you guys go from you guys, and I don't want to be too over the top, but you guys act in the same way that a virus does. You spread from person to person because, like I mentioned, I'm third back now. Since they tried to defame me as a pedophile, they've moved on to my guest Miller as the child.
Here we go. This is why. Sorry, this is why I'm gonna. You get banned. Really exercising your freedom of speech there to add to the conversation.
Multiple people were labeled pedophiles. No, they were, because the tweet from Liam Gray says not only that I have child porn, but that the people that I associate with. I've posted it on my Twitter, and so you guys are lying, and you know that, and you know how bad it makes you look, because the tweet from Liam Gray, who is a creator, who's on Ethan's show all the time, he said associates of mine are known to have child pornography too. So no, you are absolutely wrong.
Now, Mecca McCheese, I'll be honest with you, brother. I've heard stuff about you on other things that I don't know. It's like other platforms. I don't know it's true. So until Mecca McCheese does something, I'm asking my mods not to ban him in the chat unless he does something in this chat. I'm not, he has the right to defend himself too. I have no idea. So mods, leave this guy alone in the chat as long as he's behaving.
Okay, this Mr. Big Guy is an idiot. So what I'm going to do right now, because Mr. Big, you're a liar, I'm going to post, again, the tweet in question, the one that you say doesn't exist. I'm going to post it again so that you idiots truly understand how absolutely dishonest you're being here. Because I have the receipts and you don't.
Okay,
So
Mr. I want to address Mr. Big. Are you really going to address Indiegogo perks? What is Cecil's cash grab is a whole big joke. You're really gonna attack someone's like Doug and having it as a perk? There's perks that aren't delivered on some Comicsgate or Comicsgate adjacent Indiegogos.
So this guy, Mr. Big, I just posted it on Twitter. If you want, I can read it verbatim. Liam Gray said, "Hey FBI, fan advocacy confessed to attempts to drive Ethan Van Sciver to suicide and possession of child pornography. With a basic investigation of his closest online associates, you will find a number to be in possession of child porn and engaging in criminal harassment."
All right.
There you go.
I don't see anything he's lied about yet since he's been on here or in his videos. So Panboy's behaving, so let him be here. If he has something to say. All right.
And you know the crazy thing is that I was the moderate one. I was the guy who was traditionally in the middle and didn't really buy into the war campaign delusional nonsense, but I also wasn't on the other extreme. And so it's not that I left Comicsgate, it's that Comicsgate left me. I know it's a famous saying, but it's the way it is.
I'm like you. I was rooting for them. I think they're absolutely stuck, and they've hit all their channels have hit the sub wall because of behavior and the outside your bubble of fandom that just wants to exercise their rights to be assholes to everyone. It's not going to grow. The documentary that they were going to do does not need a microscope over behavior, and imagine all the stuff that would come out just within the last month. But I am doing my own documentary.
Well, I made a decision. The account CG Yakuza challenged me to make a book because I was criticizing, and apparently, unless you have a book, you can't criticize. Challenged me to make my own book, and so I accepted. And so I've been working on something, and I think that will be the best use of money and time and energy to make something for people that want comic books to adhere to the principles that Comicsgate wants but no longer stand for, and to just do something fun. Because suing these people, you're not going to get anything, absolutely nothing. I could win, but
you might get their comic collection.
I might get a settlement. I'll pay a couple grand, 10 grand, 20 grand to sue these people, and nothing. They don't have anything. It's most of these people are just, they're losers.
Yes. Yeah, I've heard accusations of this. I don't know if it's true. It's very possible. His sock puppet. There's lots of sock puppet fake accounts. I've witnessed it in my live chat. People come back and say, that wasn't me in the live chat. That was someone else all the time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that there's still people out there who are willing to listen and to embrace the truth, even if it's even if in terms of career it may not be the most beneficial. Mike S. Miller, Doug TenNapel, people still willing to do the right thing. That's
well, to be fair, I don't like Mike S. Miller's video of burning the comic. I know he was doing it in response. I think it was a bad look. I'm not too happy about that myself. I don't think burning stuff is. I don't like that all around.
Yeah, I understand that. I thought it was pretty funny, but I was more dismayed at the response and the narrative, because how quickly these narratives build up when you have people with channels and they say things and they do things, and then it just, there's no more introspection. Nobody stops and thinks, okay, is this true? They just buy into it, and then remorse sets in later because they realize that they were wrong. And there's a channel that I do like, and people may disagree with me on this. I like Anna, that Star Wars girl. I think she makes entertaining content, and I do like some of her videos, and she's a very talented artist. But her tweet today about Mike S. Miller was so preposterous that I had to sit back and go, how on earth could you say this in good faith? And the reality is that it was most likely because she's friends with Ethan and Cecil and all that. And
it's team sports.
Yeah, exactly.
Ride or die, internet gangs. This is internet gangs.
Exactly, because
Richard Mayer. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Richard Mayer rips up comics, and it's funny and it's entertaining. Yellow Flash takes a knife to them, which is entertaining. Ethan cuts up dolls. All this stuff it's theater. But the reason why Mike said that he did it was because Ethan said he was going to burn a piece of Earthworm Jim art or something. It's just.
Is this good for the view or for the comic, or is this good for a time to get internet views, YouTube clicks, or is this actually good for comics? I don't think any of the stuff going on right now is good for indie comics.
Right. Which is why I've, taken up the challenge to do my own book, and I've already gotten to writing. And I think that's, in terms of spending my money, I'd much rather do that, try to entertain people and do something worthwhile. This atmosphere that they're creating, it's really gross. It really is. And it's hate on top of hate for no reason. And it's all about entertainment. It's all about the fans.
Here, fail, Caesar. Fail, Little Caesar's hot and ready bullshit. That's what I've been seeing. Hot and ready to get Indiegogos filled at all expenses. And let people go and speak their mind and critique Comicsgate, because Comicsgate started as a consumer movement where they can critique DC and Marvel of what they are doing, and you are silencing critics with your internet trolling. So you are yourself against free speech when you go after, try to smear your critics. So I'm calling you out. I say fail. Little Caesar has failed you.
Yeah.
So don't hail him. He's failed. and I'll talk to
mean-
him too. I'll send him a DM. He still follows me as of today, but I check every day to see if he unfollows me. I'm not saying he would, but for my documentary, I want to interview lots of people. I would love to get Captain Cummings. I'd love to, because you know what? People are so obsessed with comics. I think they like to create villains too, just because they're so wrapped up in this. We always have to have a villain of the week. So I want to interview everyone, even like I might reach out to Renfamous. They called me Maximus. I want to get all type of voices in on this.
Yeah, I'm just reading the chat, and some of these people, it's just, it's Mr. Big.
Oh, and you guys don't. I don't know what your point was there, Ray Combo. I don't understand what your point. Based on the memes, I think you're obsessed with a lot of stuff that I don't want to know about. So what's your point there? What's your point?
Interesting. Chief of Comics says if the stuff about what was said is true, and that right there is the most dangerous thing.
Oh, hold on.
The Chief of Comics, if what is said about me is true, is because you set a precedent that it's up to me to disprove that. That was the running theme. Immediately they believe it, and it's up to me to disprove it. How do I disprove something that is just immediately believed by people out of convenience because they don't like me? But here's the thing: I don't use Discord. I don't use Discord. And then if I did, I would never, ever, even on a drunken dare, go into a war campaign Discord. And then on top of that, I mean, the planets would have to align. And then share that I put out this type of content to them. It's a series of lunacy that these people just believe instantly. And that's the problem, because it's not just me. They'll do it to you. They'll do it to everyone else. They'll believe it because it's convenient, and then they'll try to excuse it. Now they're backpedaling and saying, well, other people did this. Micah Curtis actually said to me, are you going to denounce this other guy, threatening to dox some other people? And I don't know this person, but that's now what they do.
I don't know who doxed who, and I condemn doxing altogether. I have no idea who's telling the truth or not.
Yeah, but it's
no
like
idea.
That's the defense. Well, how can you be against people calling you a pedophile if you're not also at the same time that we're trying to defame you, calling out it's like, do you people not understand?
Okay, Chief of Comics is saying that. You don't believe things until there's actual proof. What did the war campaign do to fan advocacy then? If you're saying that's true, you had no problem retweeting, liking that.
If you say, well, if this is true, then it's bad, instead of, well, there's no evidence to support this, then you are believing something with no evidence.
Right.
And it's the same thing that happened to Vic Mignogna. I've done videos on that before. It's the exact same thing, which is kind of interesting, because I would say that I stand with Vic and Comicsgate have some overlap. So if you are okay with what happened to me because you don't like me, but not Vic because you like him, then you're a hypocrite. In my view, that's my opinion.
All right. Okay, where's your proof? Where's your proof for lying? Go ahead with you. Make your own videos. This is the thing. Stop here. I'm gonna challenge the war campaign. Instead of doing your campaign on social media with memes, saving the culture war with memes.
Well,
or winning the culture war. Go make your video that actually shows some proof that others are lying, instead of just saying liar,
here's
liar.
The problem. The reason that they called me a pedophile is because even though there's no veracity to the claim at all, I mean, it's disgusting, but they did it because it's damaging, and they have no counter to what I'm saying. I think books should be on time. What is their position going to be? No, I think books should not be on time. Right. I think customer service should be good. I think that you should deliver on time, and to deliver refunds when people ask when your books are late, to offer that basic courtesy. What is their position going to be? No, I don't think customer service is good. They have no counter to what I'm saying, and so they invent this stuff.
All
and
right.
they make it up.
Well, Pan says we did nothing to fan advocacy. Quit saying they did. I have seen a lot of people within the group retweeting it. And from a previous commenter earlier in the stream, he says we don't do anything without proof. I think
You've
you all
never
did that.
Done anything to me? I mean, does criminal defamation with malice not? I mean, it's not just
Okay, let's just say he's right. Okay, how about the coincidence of everything? How about the coincidence of everything? When someone says something, then these things come out. There's too much coincidence going on. Okay, prove it. Prove it. We did it. Okay, whatever. A bunch of people were ready to retweet that. How many people retweeted it?
It's so insane. I don't use Discord. I wouldn't go into war campaign, and then if I did, I would never post something like that. And I would never. Also, I just want to mention, I would never wish death or suicide upon anyone. I have disagreements with Ethan. I think he should do better. I think he should work harder. I think he needs to check himself in a lot of ways, just to get his books out, to have better customer service. But I would never wish death upon him or suicide or anything like that. I think that's despicable. And as somebody who has seen the results of suicide firsthand, it's a devastating thing that I would not joke about. And I do not joke about. And I do not tell people to kill themselves. I don't make content like that because I don't believe it. I think it's beneath contempt.
All right. I think we're going to end it soon. I'm happy you came on. I would like to have you on again too, as more things come out, because I'm not going to have people intimidated on social media just because people are exercising the freedom of speech.
Right.
Which, what do they say with the freedom of speech? That's where I judge people. And it's my right to judge because I have a YouTube show. Freedom of association is great that Firewater mentioned that. That's a good point. You have your freedom of speech. I have freedom of association. If I see one type of thing coming out of a specific group that has nothing valid to say except dick fart jokes and worse than that, constantly, am I going to make a judgment call? Probably. And am I going to immediately say, oh, but we're telling the truth and believe you? If everything's a joke, why should I believe you either? It attacks your credibility.
Yeah, see, these people, they're not accepting reality. They've been proven to be wrong and to be engaging in some disgusting stuff, but they don't reflect. They don't grow. They don't get past it. It's like there's some creators that try new things and do new things, and it's all interesting. Like Tim Lim, you look at his Common America thing, and there's a lot of perks in there that are just, things that you don't traditionally see, like the little plastic stand-up and stuff like that, trying new things. With Comicsgate, it's stagnation. It's like I'm still waiting on books from 2018. It's just, and these people have no answer for it, so they just say you lie. And there's nothing else to that. There's no.
I instead, this is what I challenge the war campaign to. Instead of doing your typical memes, the fudge memes, make a video on your own saying this is what they're lying about, and I'll cover it. All I get is you're a liar.
I'll cover it too.
Yeah, you're a liar. You're a doxer, which I think doxing has happened on both sides. And yeah,
I don't encourage that, but to expect me to denounce it as I'm being maliciously defaming.
Here's my friend and critic, and I encourage my critics. There are two sides to every story. I've only heard one side so far on Max's channel. He has a point, but Snowdub, what do they do with the freedom of speech? Just constant memes that I don't, you know how I feel about this stuff. I don't cancel people. I don't stop talking to people. But if you can only conduct yourself in a certain way, I'm going to make a judgment call. Yeah, I am going to make a judgment call.
Yeah.
So if you,
who said that? Sixth scale combat. Show proof, contact the authorities, or F off. Well, my answer to that is obviously I've shown the proof. Contacting the authorities, I mean, I could
yeah,
because Comicsgate creators did, in a larger number than I would have thought possible, engage in defamation with malice. But like I said before, contacting the authorities, I know that you weirdos like to just throw that out there, but there's a cost involved.
right.
And since you people have nothing, you have nothing. You spend your entire day ripping on comic book fans and creators. You have nothing. So it would be a drain for me to sue anyone. And I mean, I could do criminal charges, but you know what? I'd rather just sit down and make
Okay,
something that
he's
want.
saying War Campaign does not dox. We have proof they do. Okay, I will cover it.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I remember that video that somebody posted where Roku Beer doxed somebody. And no, I specifically
That was
remember
Crypto
that.
Comics, I think, right?
Yeah, I think they said somebody's name. No, you absolutely do. And the fact that you're not willing to take responsibility is really disappointing. And it's just more of the same. No reflection, no introspection.
Oh, wait. Sorry. What do you? I mean, War Campaign. That's the people.
Nothing.
No, I'm talking to Chief Comics here.
Oh.
What do you mean, you people? You War Campaigners? That's what I mean.
So this guy, Stupendous, says you have nothing. I have nothing.
So what? Why how are you answering his question? You're just attacking his.
Yeah,
what he
I guess you're trying to say that financially and career wise, I'm on the same level as you. No.
I addressed this, Bianca. I meant War Campaigners. That's what I meant. Not specifically Comicsgate, War Campaigners. Well, Comicsgate creators did retweet that. But to be fair, Ethan denounced it. He said this isn't right.
Not only did they retweet it, but from a lot of these people, they responded. There were conversations that were being had, about this very thing. And that's the thing that really blows my mind. This isn't just a case of somebody.
Not Joe Frog. I don't know who you are yet. I really don't know who you are. We'll talk about it. I did not tell Fan Agassi I was going to have any other guests on except Firewater. So, and he might not want to deal with that headache. You guys are a headache. I'll admit, that's my opinion. You're an absolute headache. We could try to work something out in the future. And I want to cover this stuff because it affects fandom.
Jedi Wonder, you need to do criminal charges on this to show. Okay, so I understand what you're saying. I really do. But here's the problem. Again,
it's hard to prove too.
When you start going down this rabbit hole of lawsuits, these people, I cannot emphasize this enough. These people are losers. They have nothing. There would be nothing at the other end of that. You contact the authorities, you waste the police time. These people.
This is why. Okay.
See, I don't mind that. I mean, this guy is obviously dishonest. He's lied throughout the entire thing. He called me a liar. I proved him out. It's like, I don't care if you call me a pussy. I don't care.
No, I think he's calling me. I think he's calling me one.
Oh, well, okay. Either. I mean, at this point, it'll be either one.
I've heard that a lot. Okay.
Yeah, I don't care what you guys say about me if it's an insult, because I can give you an insult back. My problem is that when you have Comicsgate creators going out there and saying in no uncertain terms that not only am I a pedophile, that I engage in sharing child pornography and tweeting about it like it's real, and then having other people tweet about it like it's real and make their own comments, and just, it's disgusting and it's wrong. And if you can't condemn it, and if you can't recognize the fact that if what happened to me happened to Ethan, there would be a blood war. I mean, you guys would be going nuts.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Can you imagine?
Can you even imagine If a mainstream comic creator, a bunch of them, faked a tweet from Ethan from a platform that he doesn't use to spread information that he does something inappropriate, family wise or whatever, can you even imagine? It would be, I mean, they would never stop talking about it. It would be the worst thing in the world. But because it's them, well, then it's not that big of a deal. We'll move on. We'll call Doug April, a war profiteer and stuff.
Why aren't you calling Cecil's cash grab or stealing Soul that? Because that's what I saw. Profiting off the fans without any follow through, and this guy followed through and he delivered on a perk. You didn't have a problem when the perk was there. You only have a problem with him now when you don't like him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here, let me see.
I
I've been on Edwin's show twice and Ethan's show 3 times. I'll be on anyone's show. Okay. I'll look into it. Not Joe Frog. I'll look at your channel, and if you have a link, send it to me, and I'll review it.
All right. Chief of Comics, I appreciate that. I don't require you to like me. I mean, it's not popular to hold people to the same standard, whether you like them or not. It's more easy to be part of the group and to be tribal, but I do appreciate that. That concession. It's a big step.
All right. Hey, I said long ago, and I told Preston on stream, if I find something out that you're doing some shady stuff, I will comment on it too. I want to try to be as fair and balanced as I can, but I also don't want to waste my time with people that or groups that I personally believe, and it's my opinion, don't conduct themselves in a way that's up to civil discourse.
Yeah.
Yeah, Snow has no idea. I have no idea. Oh, you don't know about Fan. Maybe he's talking about you.
Oh.
Oh,
that's all right.
Well, Snow, I'll talk to you later about it. A lot of comics, I can't prove, I don't know who's Comicsgate and who's War Campaign, I'll be honest there, but a lot of people retweeted an accusation that was not proven, and they didn't care to prove it. Like they said, we like to see proof of these accusations. They all retweeted it to defame this guy for real. And a lot of, and I will use a blanket statement about a lot of war campaigners and comic skaters throw up the word lawsuit quite regularly when there's nothing there. This guy over here has a legit claim if he wants to pursue it, and I'm not saying he should either. I think he gives valid reasons as to why it's worth it. It would probably only increase how much they attack him, and it's hard to prove. And once you get down to that point, it's like, what's the point of it at the end?
I actually talked to somebody about that. It wasn't a lawyer; it's a guy who's in the legal. He's legal adjacent. He told me that it would be incredibly easy to prove malice with these people because there are so many tweets of them being malicious.
Whoa. It's not doxing if you send your address to people and then in buyer's remorse and act like, if you provide someone's info and you had it and you put it in somewhere that it was not intended for use, I still consider that doxing. You're pointing at that person's info to get harassed. True. So yeah, I don't agree with that at all. His definition of not doxing, because they had their address and then had buyer's remorse, then they should be harassed. No, that's not your place. You don't point at people's private info if that's not what they intended for. People's information that's provided online is provided for that platform. If you go and point to it and take it onto another platform and use it and abuse it for your personal use, to mock them, harass them, that is a form of doxing and pointing. I say pointing. It's in the same category, and that's not good either. So if that's your defense in saying we're not doxing, if we're pointing at someone's personal info where it wasn't for the intended use, you're full of shit.
I remember a video of Ro Kabir saying somebody's name. I'm not sure if that constitute doxing. They said, this is this guy and his name is this. So no, it does happen in War Campaign. They've done it before, but it's, I think that the doxing part of it is not even the worst thing that they do, which is unbelievable. It's just there's so much wrong, and then it's the inability to reflect, to analyze where they've gone wrong, and to grow and evolve past it. Because when you don't grow and you don't evolve, it becomes stagnant. It's War Campaign at this point is pretty inbred, metaphorically.
Okay. All right, you're putting more heat on me. Hey, Echo Base, we're approaching an hour, so if fan advocacy is, feel free to come back on the show again in the future if you want.
I'm gonna leave. Thanks for having me on, and I'm sure I'll get all the wonderful love letters from War Campaign on Twitter.
And that's just a coincidence. Prove it. It's just a coincidence.
Yeah, prove it. Prove that you're, right.
These things all happen to get together. You can't prove everything, but they just all happen at the same time. Very coincidental.
Okay. Thanks for having me on. Talk to
All
you
right,
later.
no problem. All right, so that was an interesting conversation. You can't abuse your freedom of speech to silence critics of your movement. I'm not saying that anyone should be canceled. Snow, my friend Snow Dub, he's constantly telling me I should have people on from the War Campaign. Here, Snow. So we'll talk about it. He said he might be involved because he thinks they're getting an unfair. They're not getting their side of the story out. So we'll talk about it, Snow. He wants both sides given. So we'll talk about it for sure. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Okay, Panboy's coming with some facts. Nurkish and Nasser were not ever doxxed to my knowledge. Okay, I don't like it at all. And the other thing, a decision I've made is that I don't want people's real names if they majority of the time they go by their YouTube or Twitter names. I don't want the real name spoken on a stream anymore, unless they're a creator. Like everyone knows Doug Tenaple and Ethan Van Sciver. Their names are public. They're in it. And I heard that Ethan was doxxed. I don't know. This is such a crazy experience, and it's not cool. How do you wade through the truth? All right. Yes, no, I'll talk to you about it. We'll try to work something out, okay? All right. So that's where I'll end it. Have a good night, everyone. See you tomorrow.